Hello, welcome back to Beauty Bee. This is going to be my summer favorites video. I think I'm going to do these sort of quarterly. I don't buy or change up or really have enough to talk about to do a monthly favorites, but I do think it's a fun time to talk about not necessarily the products that I've been using, but the type of things that I have been really enjoying over a season. And at the end of the video, I'm going to talk about some goals that I have for fall, as well as some little updates for my channel. So I think that's all I've got. Let's get into it. Start with the one actual product recommendation I have. This is the Sinful Colors Professional Top Coat, and it works so well. My nails are on day 4, and they look good, I think. And I mean, it's the end of day 4. I think I did these Wednesday morning. I'm shocked, and this is with a Wet n Wild polish. It also worked quite well with my Sally Hansen polish, which is another one that I don't tend to see really great wear time with. This is really great, and I think this was like $1.99, $2.99. It's about the cheapest one at the drugstore, and I've used the SE one and the OPI one, and neither of them has performed as well as this. Next favorite is more of just a general category, and it is eyeliner. I have never been super into eyeliner until probably 6 or 8 weeks ago. I'd never figured out how to reliably do a decent cat eye, and I just decided I was going to do it during COVID quarantine, and now I'm pretty good at it. Not perfect, but pretty good. And I'd owned this for a year and used it maybe 3 times, and I've used it far more than that in the past 2 weeks of having it back in my possession. I'm going to take that as yet more evidence that practice makes perfect when it comes to makeup, and we'll be talking more about that towards the end of the video. But I'm really pleased that I've learned how to do this. It's something that I had kind of knew would fit into my personal style very well for a pretty long time, probably, well, what would it have been? Since I was in college, and I graduated in 2016. But I'd never actually taken the time to get good at it, and now I find myself wearing it a lot. And one of the ways I really have found myself wearing it in the past couple weeks is with some very bright pink lipstick. Now, this is new. I bought this 2 weeks ago. It was one of the items that I bought in my August shopping under my at the end of my 3-month no-buy. But it is very, very close in color to this. Actually, closer than I'd realized in color to this. Wet n Wild lipstick, which I listed as my absolute favorite lipstick in my lip tag, the Baby's First lip tag that Nisi Pisa made. I will link that either up there or up there. I never remember how the camera flips things. But this is gorgeous. It's in the shade Wine Room. And very, very similar is the Flower Beauty. I think they're actually coming off a little more different on camera than they are in person. In person, the Flower Beauty is ever so slightly more pink, and the Wet n Wild is ever so slightly more berry. But you definitely do not need both. However, I'm kind of glad I do. One of the things that has always kept me from reliably using this is that I am kind of afraid this is just gonna break in my bag. I mean, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but there are already quite a few little cracks along this line of plastic, and it feels like a ticking time bomb. I don't want this all over my purse. Love hot pink. Don't need my wallet, my keys, and the entire inside of my bag to be this color. This one, on the other hand, is very secure, and I can see myself maybe applying this in the morning, but taking this Flower Beauty lipstick along for touch-ups. So, probably didn't need both, but not a bad purchase. I'm very happy with it. So that's it for makeup. Let's move on to a couple of fashion things. I cut my hair quite a bit during the summer. It's actually grown out more than I thought it would already. I originally had it right about chin length, so probably gotten almost an inch of growth since then, which seems wrong, but whatever. Oof. And I have found that I value hair accessories a lot more than I ever have. I've usually been very much a ponytail person, but I can't put a lasting ponytail in my hair. I can put it back at the beginning of the day, but I will have so much hair out of it by noon that it's not worthwhile. And what I've been loving are these barrettes that I've actually had since Christmas, I think. These are from Scunci, I think. It's one of the brands that they sell at Target, and I just love the colors that these come in. If you have a pretty similar hair color to mine, you probably know that a lot of the sort of nude or hair color barrettes and hair accessories you can find don't really work that well because they tend to be quite dark, or intended for brunettes, or they're like true blonde and much cooler than your actual hair and stand out just as much. This particular shade that came in the pack is probably the closest hair clip that I've ever found to my natural hair color. I mean, it's not perfect, but none of those clips are perfect, but it is unobtrusive, and I've been really appreciating it. I've been loving just pulling this side of my hair back, parting it pretty far towards the side, maybe even a little further than I have today, and clipping that side back. It gives sort of a 1940s vibe to my look, and I think that if you have been around for very long, you can probably tell that I definitely love sort of a vintage retro feel in a non-costumey way. I have two other fashion things to talk about, assuming that I can actually find them, which is always a struggle. There they are. The first one I wanted to talk about are mixed metal jewelry. I just pulled two examples. I have these earrings that are a little bit more gold on the outside and have this sort of silver wiring. And again, I didn't realize that they were both triangles, but I just pulled two examples. I think I have 3 or 4 pairs that fit this description. These gold and silver triangles. I think that mixed metals tends to look pretty artistic, and that is definitely a vibe that I go for. If there is something that I wish would describe my style, it would be a art student who understands her vintage references. And I'm not there yet, but one thing I really love about mixed metals is that it is pushing a fashion rule. I mean, don't mix gold and silver is one of those rules that's so arbitrary and unnecessary, but I think we've all heard at some point in our lives. But it does it in a very understated and they've done the work for you kind of way. You don't have to figure out how to match that bag with that belt and just kind of hope that it works. They figured out how to put the gold and silver or rose gold or whatever else in one place for you. And I think that's really helpful. Now, the final fashion thing, I've also got one food, which is strange, but whatever, are what I'm going to call Rorschach test florals. And by that, I mean things like this. This is not really tie-dye, and it's not really floral, but I think that it definitely gives a floral feeling. Like I said, a Rorschach test floral. When I look at this, I know that there's not really a pattern in there, but I see flowers. And very similar with this shirt, which is sort of silky, so I don't know how well that's going to show up on camera. But it is a very similar idea. There's no real identifiable flowers in this design, but it definitely still gives off a red and blue floral feeling. I guess a better term than Rorschach test floral would have been non-traditional floral, because my third item that I pulled is also kind of a non-traditional floral in that it's not floral. There are no flowers on this. However, I think that this very organic print of a bunch of leaves does give a very similar feeling to a floral shirt without being flowers. It's just a little bit different. Okay, one food, and then we can get to sort of the housekeeping and my goals for this fall. These are delicious. Have you guys tried these Charleston chew rollers? They are like the perfect midpoint when you freeze them in between a Whopper and a Milk Dud. And I went through these too fast. We don't need to talk about that. Okay, now on to just a little bit of housekeeping stuff. I think that my schedule going forward will be to post every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I think that that will be good as long as I am sort of working from home. I find that I have quite a bit more free time when I'm working from home, not because I don't do my 8 hours of work. I still do. But, you know, that time that I would maybe get up and take a quick 10-minute walk, I'm less likely to do that. I'm more likely to get my laundry folded or start cooking dinner, etc. So I just find that I have more free time in the evenings and in the mornings than I am used to. So 5 days a week for the foreseeable future. And then we will sort of play it by ear after that and adjust as needed. Okay, so this video is kind of all over the place because it needs to cover 3 pretty different topics, but let's get into some of my goals as far as makeup goes and this channel goes for fall. I don't have any great desire to do a real project pan, but there are, I think, 4 products that I would kind of like to move out or at least make very good progress on in my collection. The first is this My Burberry perfume sample. I mean, it's about half gone as is, probably a little less than half gone because I imagine it was not completely full when I got it. This is just a very fall scent, and I know that this is a year and a half old already, and I don't think it's going to last through another year while still smelling nice. So I would like to get my use out of this and move it out of my collection. So I do not dislike where my collection is at right now. I do think that I have just a hair more than I would like to keep permanently. So I'd like to really focus on moving out a few of my lip products. And I have several that are close enough that it would be pretty easy to finish them and just not replace them. I mean, two of these are absolute gimmies. This is the Revlon Blushing Mauve, and not only will I definitely have this done by fall, I might have this done by the time I post this video. I think I have like 2 days left in this, maybe. I don't take a lip brush to my lipstick and dig out what's in the bottom. I have enough that I just don't think it's worth the hassle. It's not something I'm going to do. I don't like using a lip brush, period, but it's not something I'm going to take with me. It's kind of a pain, and I just have enough lipstick and enjoy trying new things enough that I don't think it's worth the hassle. So there's lipstick 1 that I want to finish. Lipstick number 2 is the Soft Matte Lip Cream from NYX in the shade Can. This is also pretty much on its last legs. I mean, I can't even get a great swatch anymore out of this. There it is. It's sort of a nudie pink. It's pretty easy. I'm finding that I need to go in 3 or 4 times now to completely cover my lips, which I've finished 1 or 2 of these in the past. And once I got to that point, it was maybe a couple weeks of pretty consistent usage before it was just too much work to use these. So I feel like that is getting close. And the third lip product, this one I'm not as concerned about using up because it is fairly new. I bought this in November of last year. This is the ColourPop Just a Tint in the shade Chimichanga, and I just really like the shade. I don't know that it would necessarily last me until next summer, and while I do feel like it's starting to be fall, my wardrobe does not really change at the beginning of fall. I live somewhere where it does not get cold really, I mean, honestly, ever in my Midwestern state of mind. But it doesn't even get cold by the people who live here standards until sort of November, maybe late November even. The first year I was here, I wore shorts to my finals the second week of December, and it was great. But I don't know where I was going with that, but I think this is more of a summer color for me. So I'd like to get some use out of this. I also know that the ColourPop lip products in general have a pretty bad reputation for going bad fairly quickly. So I don't know that this would still be good next summer when it would be a year and a half old. So I feel like it now is a good time to really get my money's worth out of it. And then finally, I know we talked earlier about how practice makes perfect as far as doing makeup in general and specifically winged liner goes. This fall, I would really like to work on using glitter. I've tried today. I cannot say that the glitter under my eye started as intentional. It started as an accident and then I added more to make it look intentional. But I am kind of digging this. I don't know. Looking in my monitor, it doesn't seem like it's coming off very well, but I have sort of a bright yellowish green glitter on the outer half of my eye and a champagne glitter on the inner half, and I'm kind of digging it. I really look forward to figuring out how to really utilize my glitters because they're a thing that I have probably 7 or 8 shades just scattered through my collection that I really like the colors of, but I've always kind of limited myself in using because I'm so concerned about fallout, and I usually want to keep things looking pretty tidy during the day. So there are my goals and my favorites and just some housekeeping things. Kind of a strange combination of things for a video, but I think it will be good to have these sort of seasonal check-ins. Thank you so much for watching. I am very impressed if you made it through this video. I managed to talk for like half an hour, so hopefully I managed to cut that down a little bit in editing. I would love to know what your summer favorites have been, and I hope you'll consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed. I look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, bye!